Oh, okay, a bit later than normal, but we're live now, so that's all good. Right. Hello. Shit. Hello. I'm having it. I didn't want to, did it? Right. How is everybody on the live stream tonight? Everybody good? Excellent. Yeah, wacky questions in the question section. Hopefully the chat works fully tonight, because last night it decided to stop working. We're good. We're good. We are good. But yeah, at least it's stopped raining. It's been raining over in England for basically all week. But yeah. Yes, the Grand Nationals tomorrow. So we've got some horse racing. There's the F1 in China. Obviously, all the Premier League is back. Liverpool been drawn against Roma in the next round of the Champions League, which is going to be a very interesting semi-final. There's a fair bit going on. I'm quite interested to see. Yeah, the Old Firm is going as well. Yeah, there's an Old Firm semi-final clash, and Graham Murty said that the chairman hasn't undermined him and all that kind of stuff. So there is a lot going on. How about Roger Goodell? Roger Goodell, is he the guy who was let go? I know there's a guy who's been let go by the Dallas Cowboys. That could be him. There's a lot going on. I know there's a Dallas Cowboys player who's been let go, and I think that's Roger Goodell. But I'm not really a massive NFL fan. Ooh, I don't really know much. I know there was a Dallas Stars player. No, Dallas Cowboys. Sorry. But I'm gonna have a quick check though. I haven't heard anything about the NFL commissioner, but he's not. No sports commissioner is popular. Let's have a look. See what's going on in the old sport quickly. I know he's the big boss. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. There's got to be something about Roger Goodell. What's going on with sport? I have to check American football. They've got nothing. There. All right, let's get out of that. Let's have a quick look. Let's see what I can find about Roger Goodell and see what he's done now. Right, okay. Let's have a look. There's something broken in the last. There's the catch-all, but there's something else that's just broken on USA Today. Something to do with Today Sports. So let's have a little read. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is expected to be deposed within the next 2 weeks. Basically, he's going to be fired over the collusion case filed by free agent quarterback Colin Kaepernick last year. Kaepernick filed a collusion grievance against the NFL in October, alleging the owners conspired to keep him out of the league over his protest. Attorneys for Kaepernick and the NFL deposed NFL Executive Vice President Troy Vincent and Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones this week, according to the person who was granted anonymity. It looks like Roger Goodell could be ousted as NFL commissioner. It's like get fired. There is a motion being filed by Colin Kaepernick saying that he was part of basically keeping Colin Kaepernick out of the league after the take a knee protest, and it's been filed. The catch rule, no one's going to agree on every rule change, and we were discussing this last night about certain sports and rule changes and things like that. The issue is they had to protect the quarterback because quarterbacks were getting injured because they were getting run over. So he's made that change, or he's been part of the change to do with concussions and stuff like that. But their response to head injuries is too slow. So CTE is a thing. And the NFL is slowly realising that they're going to lose their court case over CTE. And the NHL is going to realise they're going to lose their court case with the CTE. And the Colin Kaepernick thing, I think, is what's done him. Colin Kaepernick, okay, another divisive player, another player who divides opinion, but he claims that Roger Goodell and some of the owners colluded together to keep him from being a free agent, getting back into the league. Not everyone's going to agree with every rule change or anything like that, but there is the Colin Kaepernick taking it, and it looks like Roger Goodell is going to get fired due to it. So interesting. I'm not a massive NFL fan. I will watch the Super Bowl. I will try and catch as many regular season games as possible casually and just see what the scores are and look at the form book. But I don't know. There's a lot happening in 2020, 2021. A lot of TV deals expire. There's the collective bargaining agreement in the NHL, which could be another lockout. There's that. I don't think there'll be a lockout. I think with Seattle joining the league and hopefully in 2019, 2020, they want to keep those fans there because obviously Gary Bettman, another hated guy, we hate Gary Bettman, has been responsible for the big drive into certain parts of the US that aren't traditional NHL or ice hockey markets, and they want Seattle to join. It's looking likely they join, and the NHL would be stupid to lock the players out because they've just had Vegas join and they're going to have Seattle join, and all these new fans will turn away from the sport. It'll be more damaging to have a lockout this time than any other time they've had a lockout. And we shall see what happens in a couple of years' time. We shall see what happens. It's going to be very, very interesting. Seattle's season ticket drive has come back with positive feedback, so it's looking positive that enough people are going to want to, come to games, participate in with the team, support the team, support the sport. And a lot of people who live in Washington State support the Vancouver Canucks anyway. So. The thing is, I don't know who would relocate to Seattle so you can get Sonics back. I don't know who would relocate because you are going to get an NBA team at some point when the KeyBank Arena is NHL ready. It'll be NBA ready. So you will have a basketball team at some point, but God knows when it will be. No idea when it will be. This has been a bone of contention for a good while. In the Seattle area. F1 Silverstone, as far as I know, next year will be the last race because the contract that Bernie Ecclestone, yes, that guy, signed was actually making F1 money, but not the circuit. And basically, Bernie Ecclestone ripped off us. And Silverstone paid all this money to get all this refurb done, get the hangar straight done, get the new pit lane. And Liberty Media didn't want to adjust the contract to make it sustainable, and Silverstone is losing the F1. The only reason why Silverstone kept the F1 was Donington was never going to be ready because the people who were running Donington screwed that up. So Silverstone looks like we're on the way out, and these new American uh, owners are pissing off a lot of the traditionalists. But the sport needs to change, and I've gone off F1 anyway. I prefer superbikes, touring cars, and rallying because it's more fun. There's more overtaking. There's more thrills. There's more accidents. There's always something going on. Whereas in F1, it's just done by pit stops. It's dull, absolutely dull. I can't stand Lewis Hamilton, but there we go. I just can't stand any of them really. They're all tax exiles live in Monaco, whereas other sports they tend to live in the country of origin. Yeah, Key Arena's just old though, and the transport links around it are a problem. But you're getting an NHL franchise by the looks of things, and hopefully all is well. And at some point, an NBA team will relocate there. Hello, Casey. Yeah, no. I mean, the video I was doing I was requested a video like last night. I decided to try and keep the hockey history video as short as possible. So I went from the start of the Super League era to now, and the NIHL is too minor a league to really go into, and there's so many teams in there. I do appreciate the fact you did put the links up and you put, the information there for those who, let's say, don't know much about the sport in this country. You just got to hope they read your comments. To be fair, that was only like literally 10 that was only like literally 10 minutes. Find out, what teams played in the league, how big the league got. Bang! I literally did as much research in about 10, 15 minutes. Got as many notes written down that my notepad could take, and did the video. It took a couple of takes though. It was really annoying. Lonzo Ball is overrated, and his dad's mad. Yeah, I lost my love for F1 years and years ago, because the tyres can't last more than 7 laps. The fuel tanks are too small. It's relying on pit stops. This is why I like watching things like NASCAR and F Cup rallying on YouTube. There's some YouTubers who post some rally videos from Scandinavia, and this is why I like watching the touring cars over here in the V8 supercars, because things happen. There's wheel-to-wheel racing, and the drivers, go hammer for tongs, and it's really exciting. F1 is dull. Oh no, it's Dan. But no, I had to do a bit of research, of course. I was happy to do it. Obviously, it's very interesting that for next season, the Premier League clubs have voted to delay the implementation of VAR tech for another season. I find that really interesting, and the fact that it's going to World Cup and only the German referees there will be the only referees who know how to use it is telling as well, because there's no English referees at the World Cup this year, and that sort of is telling on how seriously football really is taking this tech. They're VAR is the video assistant referee in football, and the VAR video assistant referee. It's the new system they're trying to implement in English football, and the Premier League clubs have all voted to defer its use for another year, which basically means the FA Cup is going to get ruined with it being a testing ground when it should be the pre-season games they test it in. But that's my personal opinion. Only here and in Germany we're the only countries to have tested it, and only German referee. Yeah, it's basically like that in a sense that it's there to assist if the referee misses something. So think of like the video ref in rugby. I think it's a better example, because the goal cam in hockey is sort of like the goal cam we now have in football. We're talking about VAR, which has been a separate bit of tech that covers calls that get missed on the field that the referees could have caught but they've missed. So it's similar but not quite. And FIFA's decided to use it at the World Cup, but then the FA and the Premier League have said we're not going to use it for another year. So I can see it being trialled for another year, and they make a big hash of it, and there's going to be a call in an FA Cup game, and that would do my nut. If both Coen brothers are in the IPL, that's going to be really interesting. If they're on opposite teams bowling at each other, that'd be brilliant. Touring cars has got more popular. The British Touring Car Championship on ITV4 is more popular because it is free to wear, and you can see most of the race weekend on the ITV website for free. You can watch the qualifying and the support races, and then on the Sunday you can watch literally all the sport races of the day plus the 3 touring car races, and the numbers for viewing on that have gone up. So superbikes, yeah, they've gone to highlights only. You've got to pay to view that, which I think is wrong. But the only motorsport that seems to be doing well is the British touring cars, because it is free to wear. The rest of them, not so much. And to be honest, the F1's dull anyway. And the MotoGP, it's too unrealistic with the bikes they're on. Superbikes is more fun, you get more races out of it. MotoGP, I've gone off it as well. And again, that's been taken away from free to wear because BT Sport. If BT Sport was the same as Setanta with no backup from a big corporation, British Sport is seriously screwed. So this is why your internet bills are going up for BT customers, because of BT Sport. They're propping it up by ripping us off, and that's why I had issues last night on my live stream, and I'm getting to the point where BT are going to get a very, very shitty email from me. And when I move out of this house and I go and get my own place, I'm not getting BT. Let's just say that. I'm refusing to get a BT landline. I'm not paying money to BT Sport via my phone bill and my internet bill. It's not happening. Yes, Casey, they sort of do have kind of like those other cameras if there is an offside or if there is an incident to be reviewed. It's there if the referee misses something. It's still in the trial process, and it's not been a complete failure, but it's not been a complete success, and they need to work on improving the overall how it's used, what the remit is for its use, and how that the referee communicates to the players and the fans in the stadium and us at home on the TV what's going on. There's been a lot of criticism of it, but in general, it tends to get the calls right. It's the amount of time it takes to get it right, and it's also when players don't know it's being used and they're really confused. So they need to look at how they implement the VAR, but the Premier League clubs have refused to implement it when they were meant to. So they're like, no, we're not having it for another year. Sam Curran, if he gets into the if he does go to the IPL and he plays against his brother Tom, that would be really interesting. If they're both playing against each other, that would be really, really interesting. And I would pay to see that, because they're both fast bowlers and they both can do a lot of, and they're very young and very, very powerful, and they're quick. They're quick. Not quite Brett Lee, Sean Tate quick, but give them a couple of years and they could be. Golden Knights, no, I don't think they will. I think they'll go far. They've got an easier side of the Western Conference. They've got the easier route to the conference final, I think. But I don't think they'll win it. If they do, I will be quite amazed. I understand that the NHL made it as easy as possible for them to form a team with the expansion draft rules, and the same I think will be the same for Seattle next year. I think these are the last two teams to expand into the league, and then after Seattle joins, no more. I think the NHL wants to make these teams as successful as possible, because this lockout is looming and this collective bargaining agreement is around the corner, and they want to avoid a lockout. So they want to get these teams successful off the bat and get those owners to sort of work with the league. Right, let's have a look at. Okay, good luck to the Wildcats against Sheffield in the ice hockey in the week. That'd be good. Good luck to you. I mean, I think the BBC cannot stay long as a TV license package. It has to go commercial. But then if Labour take over, it will become a state stooge, fully state-run media thing, which can be completely biased. And so I don't know what's going to happen to the BBC, but the amount you have to pay for your TV license and the quality of programming you get is not good enough. And there's not enough sport on terrestrial TV. Sky packages are a joke. £7.99 a day. That's basically £3,000 a year if you were to pay for a daily. That's how it works out per day. It's £7.99. That's £3,000 a year. It's £3,000 a year. Yeah, no, I'd rather not. If I'm honest. My 125 moped cost less than that, and that was brand new when I bought it 2 years ago. And I think what's happened, and look what's happened with Australian cricket. They're taking up to pay TV. Um, Australian cricket's made a big error there. There's already a lack of trust in the national side. There's a lack of respect for the national side now after what's happened, and I don't think people want to pay for it. And the reason why it's going to pay for VTV is these centralised contracts these players are on. Sportsmen are on too much money, and when the pay-per-view TV package and the business model is so out of date, when that does collapse, which it will do, sport around the world is going to be absolutely screwed. Yeah, it's £7.99 a day just for Sky. I think Sky Sports. Yeah, if you want to get the Sky Sports package, it works out at £7.99 a day. That's how I worked it out by looking at the TV adverts. Because if you want Sky Sports added to your Sky package, it's an extra £3 a year. If you want to add it for each day, it adds up to an extra £3. If you just want the Sky Sports package, it is impossible. So £7.99 a day. But do you know how much it costs in India for Sky? £2 a year, or £2 a month, or something like that. Over here, it's perversely expensive, and yeah, it's because the football players' wages are in the hundreds of thousands a week, and they're greedy. So you can blame people like Alexis Sanchez and I don't know, all of them really, for being overpaid footballers. Anyway, that's my view on football. That's why I hate it. Because they're demanding so many wages in football and agents' fees, we have to pay so much money. And of course, BT Sport, the reason why BT bills are going through the roof this year is because they pay for these TV rights. Yeah. If you have a Sky package or a BT package, any kind, if you have BT Internet and a BT landline, and on EE as well, EE owns BT as part of the BT group. I'm through EE because it's a decent network to be on, but yeah, I'm paying footballers' wages. And I don't really want to pay for a footballer's wages. I'd rather change networks, but I've got a decent deal. Oh, Scott, Rupert Murdoch is a crook. He's an absolutely vile human being. The Australians hate him. We hate him. Don't know what the Americans think of him, but all it takes is everyone to illegally stream or forget VPNs, and they know. That's why they're trying to shut down all these VPN channels and Kodi and stuff, because they know they've made a huge error of judgment. And they say, "Oh no, but you're pirating and you're hurting the sport." No, you're hurting the sport because you're allowing these athletes to get overpaid, ripping us off, and the quality of sport we're seeing is not great anyway. So it's a toxic environment, because when the pay-per-view sports model fails, which it will do, because more and more people my age in their teens to their early 30s, we are not paying for sport. We are not paying for Sky as much as we were 10, 20 years ago. We stream. We stream off the internet, or we download illegally. We've had enough of paying. And they haven't quite realised that budgets are a lot less and real wages are less. So the pay-per-view model is out of date and will suffer. I haven't been when it says free stream on the internet, some of them you have to pay for, or some you have to give your card details over for to unlock. And I'm not doing that. IPL and Indian cricket is free. Yeah, for you, not for us. We have to pay for it. It used to be free. Now it's not. Pay-per-view sport is a cancer on professional sport. It's cancer. Because when a pay-per-view sport deal falls through for a league, it goes bust, as my ice hockey video that I did earlier tonight proves. When a TV deal cannot be agreed, leagues and teams go out of business. Look at Setanta in Scotland. Look at the English Super League, or the British Super League ice hockey in the late 90s, early 90s. When they couldn't renew a TV deal because Sky were just, Rupert Murdoch, the whole league went bust. 4 teams went out of business. And then the British National League followed 2 years later. That's what pay-per-view sports does. When the pay-per-view sports feel like they're not getting their way, they will happily put sports teams and sports leagues and general sports clubs out of business, which are a good social thing. They put them out of business. Yep, it's BT Sport, crooks. They're not even getting good viewing numbers either. BT Sport is getting really low viewing numbers. Even for the big games they get, like Tottenham, Arsenal, hardly anyone is watching it. They're not getting the viewership numbers. When you've got Austin Healey doing the rugby coverage, it is like I'd rather watch paint and varnish dry because he doesn't work with TV. He was a crap rugby player and he's a crap presenter. Yes, they do. And I was very annoyed that the ice hockey was only on it said it was on the red button, and it wasn't. It was only on the website, and you had to be like, get an account with BBC because even the BBC are making it difficult now to watch free sport. And it's getting to the point where there's a reason why people will legally download and illegally stream. There is a reason why VPNs ping up all over the place. People are not willing to pay stupid amounts of money to watch sport when the quality of the sport itself is dropping. The players are overpaid. The ticket prices, when we do go to the game, this is what I find sickening, is when you actually go to a game. A friend of mine went to see Tottenham Chelsea last year. It cost him 90 quid just for the ticket. That's not including parking for the car. That's not including his hotel. And that's not including food and drink. 94 quid it cost him to go to Chelsea last season. And Chelsea and this new the TV deal that the clubs have struck with the TV, BT Sport and Sky, they could let us all in for free for 5 years, and they still charge us through the nose for tickets. So it's getting to the point where like the sports clubs, they're making all this money off the sports TV deals, yet they're ripping us off at the turnstile for a product that is, I think, in my eyes, declining in quality. But that's just me. That's my personal opinion on everything. I think pay-per-view sport is a cancer. It's an outdated business model that will fail because more and more people in the 18-30 bracket, so most people who watch this channel are in their late teens to mid-30s, so my age group, we are refusing to pay for Sky and BT. Yes, same here, right? You see on pay-per-view sports, there'll be no ads, and there's as soon as you pay for Sky Sports, the Sky TV package over here, half the program is adverts. So I paid several £1,000s a year not to have fucking adverts, and all I get is fucking adverts. Why? Virgin Media is not much better either because you still have Sky Sports and BT Sport on there. And then you've got Premier Sports. But Premier Sports, though, have done something very interesting. Premier Sports have released the Free Sports channel because they're working out people aren't willing to pay for your sports anymore. So they worked out 18 million homes refuse to have Sky or BT Sport. We'll give them a free channel on HD. Now, my TV doesn't pick up because my box is not HD, but I when I do get out of this house, I will get a freebie box and I'll be able to get some free sport. Not a lot, but some. And hopefully that means I can get Premier Sport and FreeSat. I do try on my channel. I appreciate the subscription. I really do. I do appreciate. Every little helps. We're trying to get remonetized, so live streams is how I communicate most with you guys because then I can talk about the stuff that I care about and passionate about. And the price of sport is disgusting. Free sports is decent, but some of the leagues they show is a bit obscure. I think they've got the NHL, but it's the American feeds. There's no British commentators, so when they go to ads, and you've got to pay for it. Yeah, that's playoffs, I think, or it's a playoff series in either the NHL or AHL. The playoff games tonight start our time at about midnight. Hello, Abdul. But no, I've mentioned pay-per-view sports, but the TV deals the sports leagues have signed make these sports leagues exceptionally wealthy, but the ticket prices are disgustingly high. And I've said time and time again to people who watch this channel, vote with your feet, and you will. They will be showing the playoffs on Free Sports or on Premier Sports at least. Toronto lost 5-1. They got battered. Toronto got battered, and Kadri could be suspended because he late hit. Kadri's in a lot of trouble, and they lost 5-1 on the night. Who's playing today? We have the Flyers versus the Penguins, which is it's going to be another. Unless the Flyers can start fighting, they're going to lose by another 7 goals. This lot are playing the Jets are playing the Wild, and Vegas are playing LA, and all the games start stupidly late at night because for some reason they've decided because 2 of the playoffs are in the West, they'll have them on Eastern Standard Time at late at night. So half of bloody America is at work when it's happening. So it's all stupid timings, and we're all bloody in bed. But no, the Flyers are absolutely blown away, and Toronto were blown away last night. Yeah, it's been. On Free Sports at 12, it's only showing Stars versus the Kings. I mean the Golden Knights versus the Kings because the Stars are not in the playoffs. It could be a match replay, but that's stupid then because it's already like 3 weeks out of date because the regular season ended over a week ago. No, I don't think Toronto will go through. I predicted a Boston Nashville final. I don't think Toronto will go through to the second round. Not with how they played last night. Absolutely not. And that's not a good Boston side because Boston are. When I say it's not a good Boston side, Boston are a bit underpowered at the moment. They've got a few players missing with injury. And oh look, apparently I've got to go kill myself, according to Ellie Meiji. Right, okay. We're going to report that. And oh no, harassment and bullying. Oh dear, what should we select? Yeah, we'll go with that. Bye. Let's get rid of another troll. Apparently I've got to go kill myself. So that's nice. Probably a Leafs fan. Oh well, shit happens. I don't think Toronto go through. I don't think the Kings will go through either. I think it's going to be interesting. Washington lost to the Blue Jackets last night. That says to me that this Washington team, which had home ice advantage, is gonna struggle in the first round. I don't think Washington have enough. I think there's going to be some big teams to go out, and we shall see what New Jersey and Colorado can do. Because I think New Jersey and Colorado going into the playoffs are the weakest sides. But looking at Philly, I don't know. There are some weak sides that have made it into the playoffs, and there's some very good sides that are going to fall out in the first round. Playoffs are good fun though. They're good fun. There wasn't a lot of penalty minutes in the first 3 games. There was only 34 penalty minutes across the first 3 games 2 days ago. So expect that to change tonight. And we'll have to see if Nazem Kadri gets a suspension for his hit that he did in the Boston Toronto game. There was stuff going on, and Brad Marchand was doing dickish things as Brad Marchand does. So even if you're a Boston fan, you've got to go. Brad Marchand is pushing a fine line where he could do something really stupid and cost you guys, a game in the playoffs, or cost you guys cause you guys to get knocked out in the playoffs. That's the issue. Right, let's get this chat to work. Pop out chat. Let's see what's on the pop out chat. Let's see where we are. Right, because my chat's decided to malfunction again. Right, bear with me. The other chat's decided to just let me just do this. Every time someone trolls me and I go to report it, it crashes. It pissing crashes the chat, which is really annoying. I just had to see what BT Sports football. Yeah, no. BT Sports does occasionally have rugby, but no, they've built themselves around rugby union and football, and they've now picked up an agreement with the Australian cricket, Cricket Australia, but they don't show England games. They only show Australia games, which is pissed off Sky. And with their what's the sport that BT Sports got a monopoly on? There's a sport that BT Sports got a monopoly on, and they're not very happy with it. But no, I think if BT Sport was a standalone company which didn't have the internet provider and the phone network and EE with it, it would have gone bust from the first year it was going. Yes, there are some sad issues, sad individuals on YouTube. Every time I go to report someone who's said something, it crashes the chat. So I'm gonna have to. I've had to. The chat's gone again, so I've had to get the chat up. I don't know what it is, but it varies from live stream to live stream. Some live streams I get just you guys being great, and then other live streams it's just a load of morons that come on and ruin it, and then you guys are still great, and I'm having to still talk to you guys whilst blocking these people and reporting them, and it's just a pain in the ass because I've got no moderators. But I have got a Discord server, so I'm in the process of sorting out my Discord server. I'm still getting used to the server and how it works and how things on it work and stuff like that. But we'll be using that more and more as the year goes on, and we'll be looking at possibly doing videos on the Discord server as well. So we shall see what we can do with that. But no, we BT Sport. Are crap, and yeah, they never have any live events on BT Sport. ITV Sports now got an ITV box office where you've got to have download pay-per-view sport as well. I'm like, what? Who's going to want to watch that? ITV have now got pay-per-view sport when boxing's on, but Channel 5 and Dave will happily show it for free. Admittedly, it's the lesser fighters, but if there's live boxing on and a Channel 5 gets some fights, they show it for free. But ITV got this ITV boxing box office, $12.99 a fight, naff off, and you've got to retune your Freeview box to get it, which is bloody annoying. I don't get pay-per-view sport. Boxing is dying. UFC has screwed itself with Conor McGregor. Not, yeah, I wasn't going to pay $12.99 for George Groves to, fight Chris Eubank. No way. Yeah, the thing is, we had the full terrestrial model until 1992, and then Rupert Murdoch goes, "We're going to have Sky Sports," and because Rupert Murdoch says we're going to have Sky Sports, it changed the rugby league format from an autumn-winter league to middle of summer, so the players can die of heat exhaustion. So it can link up with his Australian rugby league, which he tried to almost destroy in the 90s. So now our rugby league takes place in summer. So the players are playing in the hottest time of year when some days we can get 30 plus degree days and they can get heat stroke. So that's really nice of him, isn't it? And because of him, the Super League is dependent on Sky revenue. It's dependent, and it has a monopoly. Sky has a monopoly on the Super League, which I think is wrong. And the Challenge Cup is only shown after the quarter-final stage, which I think is wrong because Sky. Yes, we do have Sky. We do have British Rugby League, but it's only on Sky because Rupert Murdoch is a crook. And when the rugby league in this country is quite good. It's just Sky has a monopoly on the TV rights, which is completely disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And the highlights package is crap on BBC. And BBC's coverage of the Rugby League World Cup last year was crap. When Scotland and Wales and Ireland were playing, we got highlights only. But when England played, we got to show that match. Every other match was highlights only, which was crap. And I was very critical of that. The league's called Super League. So yeah, sport in this country is completely mismanaged at the top level. Completely mismanaged. I understand the American model of the network showing it. So if you an American Canadian model is different. Over here, sport is completely mismanaged. some people running the sport aren't accountable, especially in football. The players are disgustingly overpaid, and the fans are being raked at the turnstiles for money. They're being bled dry for tickets, and it's disgusting. Hence why I refuse to go to any football matches. And hence why I refuse to get Sky and BT, because for some reason we pay this TV money. They signed the wealthiest TV deal in history, and the clubs could let us in for free for 5 years, yet they raised the ticket prices. They claim the ticket prices have not been risen for 3 years. It is a lie, because the FA did their own survey, and of course they're going to try and hide the fact that the average ticket price may stay the same, but some of the other, like the concessions, gone up, and the nosebleed seats have gone up. So yeah, there's less affordable tickets. There is a British Basketball League, and I don't know what the league's called. I do apologise. Probably the best British Basketball League. I don't know what the league's actual name is, but we do have a British Basketball League. It's probably called the National Basketball League of the UK or something, the BNBA or something, British National Basketball League, something along those lines. It's half decent. Season's over now, but it's half decent. But no, I have to admit that the televised sport in this country is badly done. Great, they're reducing ticket prices for 16, 17, 18 and 19-year-olds, and maybe someone up to the age of 21. The average age of a football fan is 41, so that's going to have no impact, none, because most people buying the tickets are their parents, hence why the average age is 41. Man United, yay, one club. It's not enough. The issue is for many years, Man United were part of the reason why we paid so much. Because they kept winning the Premier League all the time. They've won 13 titles. Other clubs decided to up their spending unnecessarily to compete with them, and ticket prices went up as a result, and it became a price war. And the agents' fees, the agents are unscrupulous bastards. I mean, I could rant about the mismanagement of British sport and the reliance on British sport on pay-per-view sports, which is a really bad business model. Really, really bad. It's a shocking business model. It's going to cause a lot of problems in 5-10 years' time. Well, the next TV deal, 40 to 50 games haven't been sold. Why on BBC, ITV, and Channel 5 and Channel 4 not bidding for those 40 odd games that haven't been sold on the next TV deal? They're not even bothering to bid. The BT, you've got the European Europa League and Champions League as a monopoly, which is wrong. It's been taken away from Sky and ITV, which is disgusting. And it's against Ofcom rules, but apparently they're allowed to do it. Yeah, even the body that governs television, toothless governance body. Yeah. No, the players don't give a toss about the sport anymore. Not at the top level. They're overpaid. They're arrogant. They're rude. They're thugs. All they care about is the money. And it's going to take the point where the fans actually decide to protest, and refuse to pay, refuse to go into the grounds. Because empty stadiums look really shit for TV. And I've noticed a lot of empty seats this season in the FA Cup. A lot of empty seats. On highlight shows, Premier League stadiums have got a lot of empty seats appearing. And I think that's becoming more and more of a thing. Hence, the ticket price has to go up. And they claim it's not, but people are not willing to pay the price. They stay away. I think what should have been a turning point was when, for me, was when the Liverpool fans refused to pay any more money for their away tickets, and they all started walking out in 77 minutes, and the whole Kop end emptied itself. So that's 10,000 people just going, no, we're not accepting this anymore. We refuse to pay what you're charging. So that 70 minute 77 minutes in a game in 2016 after the TV deal was announced, and which we later found out the next day we could all been letting for free for 5 years and the clubs would not lose any money. Liverpool fans said, enough's enough. And they walked out chanting, "You filthy rich bastards, you've milked us enough." And yet the ticket price still goes up in real terms, because you've got to work out, obviously, you've got inflations and stuff like that. That's why I like ice hockey in this country. Most of the players get an appearance fee. They don't get paid a salary; they just get paid by appearance. So if they're injured or out, they don't get paid. They're basically semi-pro. So they are part-time working, part-time playing, and that's why I like British ice hockey at the lower levels, because they play for the love of the sport, and most of them are from the local area in which they play. And yeah, they play. They suffer. Yeah, no, fans don't normally leave unless it is a real bad performance, and I have seen fans leave. But no, they don't normally think they're being overpriced. Hockey fans we can get boisterous, we can be stupid. My God, we're loud and proud. We will sit through watching young lads who are not getting paid properly play. Football players, no, I'm more than happy never to go to a football match ever again. I've had people ask me on the channel, am I going to the World Cup? Hell no. I'm not paying hundreds of thousands of pounds for tickets. Sod off. FIFA's not getting my money. Absolutely not. Why would I want to go see a product where you can tell there's fixing of matches? They're going to dive everywhere. They're going to literally throw themselves like they've been shot when no one's touched them, which is fucking embarrassing. Oh, it's because people like Rupert Murdoch have destroyed British ice hockey, because he had the TV rights for the Super League back in yeah, no, we do that as well. We have the signing table in Bracknell as well. The players will sit and wait, and they will sign our shirts, jerseys, hats, pucks, programs, and they do say hi to players. Yeah. No, yeah. The reason why ice hockey in this country is slowly recovering with the Elite League is because Rupert Murdoch screwed it in 2003. He almost put British ice hockey out of business because he's a money-grabbing bastard. Diving in football, no, it's not just cheating, it's fucking embarrassing. Because if you do that in ice hockey or rugby, your coach is probably going to drop you for the next game, and you're probably going to get a 2-minute penalty in ice hockey and done for embellishment, and then it's really embarrassing. And then the next time you're on the ice, some guy's actually going to flatten you and go, "That's what a hit feels like, you cheating." Because to dive and fake it in rugby or ice hockey, you get crap, because the next time you're out there playing, you will get flattened, and the player will probably chirp at you and say, "That's a fucking hockey hit, you absolute king," and give it like that. Football players, they throw themselves. Ashley Young has balance issues, according to Man United, and they're trying to fix them. So yeah, the game against Holland, he was on the pitch side. Mike picked him up because he clearly had hurt himself, fair enough, but he rolled back on the pitch, and the referee booked him for wasting the game, wasting time, which was the correct decision. So he calls the referee a fucking prick. That's why I hate football players. If you do it, yeah, no. If you try and embellish in ice hockey, you are gonna get the living crap kicked out of you by probably your own teammates in training, let alone the opposition, and you don't want to do it again. There are certain players, Sidney Crosby, who do it quite a lot, and it's embarrassing and it's cringeworthy for someone, especially when they're big boys. And if they're not the small skill players, but they're big lads and they throw themselves, it is absolutely embarrassing and it's cringeworthy and it's disgusting. And this is one of the reasons why I hate football. The diving, it is embarrassing. I don't know why they do it. I don't know why the referees just don't book them or send them off. Don't worry, Abdul. It's fine. It's a Friday night. Go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. Have a good evening, mate. No, Sidney Crosby, I don't like him because he does do the diving, and he also will be a dirty player. He will hook, he will slash. All the things he whinges about, he does to other players worse. And and he did sever Mike Mathot's finger. So yeah, and he got away with that, no suspension. But when someone else does that, 5 games, it's bollocks. He expects preferential treatment from the refs, and that's why he's called Sidney the Crybaby, or you know, or Shirley Crosby. People don't like him. They don't like him because he whines and he embellishes. And he's not a small lad. He's a big bloke. He can take a hit. It's not as if like he's a small Pavel Bure. If you don't know who Pavel Bure is, check him out. He was a very small Russian player. No, you've actually spelled Ovechkin correctly. That's fine. He's a hard man, and he can be dirty as well. He's a big unit, and he can drop a dirty hit occasionally. He's a machine. He's not as effective as he was. Let's say 5 years ago, because he has lost a little step because he's about the same age as Crosby. They both have injury issues in the past, and I think the amount of playoff hockey and things like that has tired him out. He's a big unit though. But no, you've spelled Ovechkin correctly. He's a massive, massive man. He is not small. But I think he doesn't always get correctly used by Washington, and they use him in the wrong situations, and they overplay him, and he gets tired. If you are gonna have like a leader like that, make sure it's like a leader in a locker room, or some guy who can just have an impact for 5 minutes. If they've got to play 25, 30 minutes of a game, like half the game, they're going to get tired, and their bodies will break down, and then they will get injured more likely to get injured. Oh yeah, interesting questions there. We have gone on a lot about the pricing of sport and how pay-per-view sport is just vile, and it is. Can't stand pay-per-view sport, but it is what it is. But yeah, anything else to discuss? You can whack any more. Well, to watch ice hockey, yes. To play, the equipment is expensive. Goalie gear is for a helmet's 250 quid. Pads, that's another fair bit of cash. Body armor, if you're if you're just a forward or a D man. Helmet, gloves, shorts, gum shield. You're looking at near on £1,000, and that's not including sticks and skates. It is an expensive sport to play as a youth player. Yes, he has, and he wasn't. And I saw that today. Steve Bly was now in the British Ice Hockey Hall of Fame. To be recognised by your country as one of the best players of all time for your country says a lot about how good he was in goal. And he played for the Bracknell Bees for a while, so I'm happy because he played for us for a good period of time. Yeah, that is mad. He wasn't actually getting paid at 14 until he was 16. He could get paid, but no, he started playing and go at the senior level at 14, and that is insane. Some of the goalies in British ice hockey are exceptionally young, like exceptionally young. We're talking 16, 17, 18 years old. And what I worry about is their development long term. If they have a couple of bad games, it affects your confidence and it affects your morale a little bit, and you'll start to overthink things and make mistakes, and then you get more frustrated, and then you get more upset, and then your head drops. And I forget who the whole goal. There was a whole Pirates goalie. Their backup. He was 16 years old, and the starter got injured, and he had to go off. He was concussed, and the young lad goes in goal, and it's like 2-3-0 when he goes in goal, and by the time the game finished, it was 13-1, and he was crying. He was literally head in hands crying, and I felt sorry for the lad. It is mad. But Rennie Moore is quite good. He's a good young goalie, and I do hope you keep him long term and you develop him and keep working with him, and because he is a shot stopper. He's a very, very good young talented player. Matt Smith, on the other hand, is a sieve. Matt Smith has a lot of issues with his game that very easy to work out, and it doesn't take a decent player to do it. Matt Smith is not a good goalkeeper. He's just big. Apart from that, he's not very good. Yes, he's completely useless. His only benefit is he's about half a foot taller than Mar, so he actually takes up more of the net. But apart from that, he is shocking. He was shocking for us, and he's only beaten us once. The last game of the season, he was in goal and he won, but he conceded 4 sloppy goals that he shouldn't have. But when he was back up to us, he was he was just a sieve. I've never seen a goalie so bad. And he's got a younger brother as well, and I do hope he's not a goalie either, because Jesus Christ, that would be quite worrying if his young brother became a goalie as well. I'll get really, really concerned then. Because he can't stop a puck. He only won 1 game out of 4 against us, or something, since he's been with you. He's won 1 game in 4, and that's because we stopped playing. If we carried on pummeling his net, he would have let another 6-7. There was the cup game where he was absolutely useless. When he was playing for us, God, there was 1 game against Hull. We were winning like 10-0, so we met him out of goal and put him in, and he conceded 3 goals in 2 minutes. Matt Smith was useless, absolutely useless. And his dad played on far too. His dad played on far too long and should have retired a lot sooner than he did, because he made us worse. He's a crap coach, and he could realise he had lost not just a step, but he had really lost it by the time he retired. It was just, please quit now, please stop playing ice hockey. You're 41. Can you please stop, please? And it was just embarrassing because he wasn't very good by the end. You see, that is probably where Rennie Moore is quite good. The Five Flyers are a decent side, and I do hope the Edinburgh Capitals also they find a solution to the issues that they have, and I hope they're allowed to keep playing and the Elite League solves the issue, because Lydiard is ancient. Not gonna lie, he is quite old. Longstaff is still playing up in Whitley Bay. He's still going, and he's 43. Lucas Smith, I think, is player coach for Slough. He's 42, 41. Nicky Chin's 46. He plays for Cardiff Fire. He's 46, and he's still going. He's got fat. He was thin once. I can remember watching Nicky Chin 20 years ago. He was 26 then. Nicky Chin is old and fat, and he's still going. But at the same time, we can sit here and go about, they should retire, but they're still playing at this. I mean, it's mad. It is mad how some of these guys can keep playing at a decent level into their early 40s, because they have a severe injury, they're done. They're not going to play again. Because so many players don't make it out of their mid-20s playing semi-pro or pro because of the amount of injuries they get. So for them to still be playing, it is what it is. Tom Curran is just his first game in India. I think he has to adapt to the conditions, the wickets, and that's also his captain's fault for putting an inexperienced player in a crucial position of trying to close out the game. That's down on the captain then. The captain has made the choice to say this guy is the strike bowler who is going to be bowling with a ball that's 20 overs old against a batsman who probably's got himself in. And that falls back on the captain. That's the captain's fault. that is all on the captain then. If the captain has put him in and put him in that pressure situation at his stage in his career, that is bad captaining. But it's his only first game in India. You have to look at the fact that he got to adapt to the conditions and the wickets, and he's also got to field out in the outfield as well. So we have to see how he deals with what's happened in this game, and see how he adapts to the mistakes he made, works out where he can improve. But also he needs the support from the other bowlers in the bowling unit, and his captain needs to make a decision where, who do I put in as my main strike bowler, because he's obviously going to be relying on Mitchell Starc. Mitchell Starc is injured, so they've thrown a young lad in, which I think is crazy. Ben Davis, Australian ice hockey is of a lower standard than British ice hockey, hence why a British import can go over there and play. The standard in Australia is a lot less than it is here. And they have not many ice rinks. I think they've only got like 6-7 ice rinks in the whole of Australia or something. There's not many ice rinks in Australia. You've got to remember it's a very warm country, and that does affect the dehumidifiers and the rinks and all that mumbo jumbo. So, but it is good to see that we're now developing players of a high enough standard so they can go play. Yeah, there's only 5 teams in the league. There's only 5 or 6 ice rinks in the whole of Australia. I think there's 2 in New Zealand or something. There's just not enough. And it's not winter sports is not something Australia very famous at. They've got a few speed skaters and a few bobsledders, but winter sport is not an Australian thing. They're more suited to the summer sports or the sports that you can play outside, like rugby. Winter sports is very alien to them. The fact they've got 5 teams, it amazes even me. But their hockey league is tiny. I'm surprised it's even viable to only have the 5 teams. I'm so surprised they've even tried to make that a viable enterprise. But it is what it is. You've got to start somewhere. If you want to grow a game, you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to try with a new sport and you've got to see if people are interested in watching it. That's the only way a sport's going to grow, is you've got to market it correctly, and you've got to see if people are interested in it. Because I don't know how popular, how many people in Australia will watch the NHL, for example. You've got to see what kind of feedback you get from the people watching and things like that. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm surprised the league is going with only 5 teams, because that doesn't seem viable to me. But it is what it is. And if a British guy is going over there as an import, that shows that, okay, our quality level has improved in the last couple of years, that we're now getting players playing abroad. That is a good sign that we are developing as a hockey nation, and the level and the quality level is going up. Is what it is, though. Yeah, I mean, it's the same in any sport. When you start having some of your good players go abroad to play, it says that the quality level of the sport you're playing and the league you're playing in before you decide to go abroad has gone up, and that the youth development system is good, and you are coming from a competitive league, and it's a good sign. So that's a good, healthy sign that we're now getting players born in Britain, trained in Britain, playing abroad. That can only be a good thing. And I've heard rumours that there's 1 or 2 players that the NHL are looking at for next year's draft. That's a good sign as well. But I'm going to keep going for another 15 minutes. It's going to be a short live stream tonight. I'm feeling really, really tired, so I don't want to be going too late tonight. So we'll go for another 15 minutes, and we'll see what other questions you have to ask. If anyone else has got any other questions, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if anyone's got any questions, just whack them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. We've had a few issues with the chat last night and tonight, so I'm trying to keep the chat working. We've had a few issues, and I've sort of got the chat working my end, so I can see what you're typing, which is good. Okay. In that case, there's this. I mean, unless you want to discuss some of my videos today or videos I did yesterday, is IPL big in the UK? Well, we used to have it on free to air TV, and I used to watch it a lot, and a lot of my friends used to watch it a lot. Cricket is one of the national sports here in the UK, but I don't really know because it's gone to pay per view now, and we have to pay to see it. I don't know if that's affected the popularity of it, but IPL is Indian Premier League cricket. It's cricket in India. It was on free to air TV for a good 8 years, and a few years ago, Sky got the monopoly on it, and now we have to pay for it. So I don't know how popular it is now, but it was enjoyable to watch when I watched it. I used to watch both games. If there were two games in a day, I would watch both. But also, you've got to remember the channel it was on also has motorsports. We did occasionally clash on a Sunday, but no, it is reasonably Hotstar. I'll have to check out Hotstar. Every streaming site I went on was trying to ask for my card details, my bank details, and I was like, oh, I'm not using this one. But I'll have a look at Hotstar. I'll have to remember that. But no, I find it really, really interesting that more and more sport is being taken away from us free to air and is being forced onto pay per view TV. And some of the prices they're asking, I'm not willing to pay. I'm not willing to pay. I think some sportsmen are stupidly overpaid as well. They're paid far, far too much. And they're not humble individuals. They're greedy. They've got no passion in them anymore. They're all corporate robots. Well, I understand there was one. Well, I think it was more sports that were free on TV when you were younger than you. Yes, 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 there was. There was more sport that was freely available because I had cable. Like we had instead of having Sky, we had cable, so we had like 900 channels from around the world, and half of them were sport. But I think you paid a monthly subscription or something of like a fiver, and it worked out you pay yearly. It was about 150 quid for a year, and we got cable. And then Sky decided to take over more and more of the TV market, and eventually cable. I think it was Telewest got bought out by NTL, and then NTL went bust, and what was left of NTL was bought out by Sky and Satanta, and that was that. But yes, no, when I was younger, there was so much more sport that was free to air, so much more sport. We used to have the Serie A football, we had the F1, we had the superbikes, the touring cars, the MotoGP, we had the motocross, we had cable so we could watch NHL and stuff, and the NBA and the NFL. We had loads of it. I didn't see the Europa League draw. No, I didn't, Camel. I didn't see it, so I don't know who got drawn with whom. I saw the Champions League draw. I haven't seen the Europa League draw yet, so I don't know who's got through. I don't know who's facing whom. Yeah, I know Sky. I know Arsenal got to the semi-finals. Sport is all about the money now. It's gone too corporate, far too corporate. There's too much of these corporate droids. So when they do the interview, they've got to have the can of drink, and they've got to turn it round. And they've got to put their Ray-Bans on because they're sponsored by Ray-Bans. They have to have their hat with all the sponsors all in the right place. I would tell the sponsor to fuck off. if the Champions League draw is fixed, then it makes me feel that some of those matches in the quarterfinals were fixed, and we were talking about it, and I had suspicions that Roma or Juventus, one of those two games, was a little bit, I don't know, fixed. And the penalty that was given against Juventus, they weren't happy. Not happy at all. So if there are rumours the draw is fixed an hour before the draw, then that is something that is unacceptable. And UEFA, more scandal, more scandal. They've got Liverpool, Roma, and they've got Bayern, Real. So if that is fixed, then that is disgusting. I know Stokes is overpaid. He's facing prison. If he's found guilty, he'd go to prison for what he committed, his crime. He's a twat. He's not even English. He's from New Zealand. I don't even know why. I mean, we in England seem to have these plastic players. No, the sponsors in British ice hockey keep the league going. I will admit that. Without the sponsorship that we get from various companies, a lot of the teams will go out of business. And my mate's company, my mate's dad sponsors the Bracknell Bees. He's one of the key sponsors. Without him, we don't have the projector with a crappy scoreboard. We don't have his money, which would help the team keep going. And it's good that they do help each other out. And the hockey community is a hockey community. As if the jerseys for Humboldt, if you haven't, Kevin Peterson, he's a mercenary. I can't stand Kevin Peterson. Great player, but he's a twat. Kevin Peterson, no one likes him. The South Africans don't like him. We don't like him. No one wanted him. He fell out with the South African cricket board, and then he went over here, got residency, and played for us. And then we've had enough of him and went, go away. You're not wanted anymore. He's a dressing room cancer. He's basically the troll you get to meet in real life. He's that type of guy who will probably troll you. He's an arsehole. No one particularly likes him. He's not very popular with his teammates. He's a massive ego, and he's an overpaid wanker. But now he's retired, so no one cares. He's retired now, so no one actually cares. He's irrelevant now. He doesn't play anymore. So I don't think his opinion's valid anymore. But there we go. Ben Stokes, he's from New Zealand. Kevin Peterson's from South Africa, and the South Africans didn't want him. They were like, no, this guy's a troublemaker, and he is. He is a pain in the arse. He undermined so many England captains. It is unreal. So they gave the captains to him, and he screwed it up, which proved the point that he was just an ego. All he cared about was himself. What time is it? We'll go for another couple of questions, and then I'm going to call it a night, because it's a bit earlier here. But to be fair, I want to have a quiet evening to myself. I don't mean to be rude, but I've not been sleeping well lately. And Tom Corrin's dad is from Zimbabwe, but he, I think, has been here since the age of like 2 or 3. He's been here since he was been a toddler. So Tom and Sam Corrin, they've been here since they were babies. Their dad was from Zimbabwe. I do admit that, I do agree that, but they've been here. I think their mum's English as well, but they've been here since they were little kids. That's different to Peterson. Peterson was already a cricketer. He was already in his early mid-20s, and South Africa told him to fuck off because he was just an ego, and he fucked off. And then he ruined England, and then we told him to fuck off. And so you guys got him in the IPL, and he was useless there as well. But no, I'm not a big fan of these plastic mercenary players who get allegiance to a country by living there for a couple of years and go, look, I've got a passport, now I can play for you. It's like, we haven't developed you. What? Don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. There's too much of that going on with every sport. It drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts. But it is what it is. What you can do about it is here to stay. Sport seems to be happy to undermine youth development by literally allowing a foreign player to come over, gain residency rights, get a passport, and go, yeah, I know I can play for you. Don't understand it. It's damaging for youth development. It's damaging for young people and fans. It really is, because they demand more wages and then the ticket prices go up. So what do you expect? Right, any more questions? Because I'm going to finish up in a minute. I want to do a short stream tonight. Nothing major. The government treat. I wouldn't say the government treats football players like gods, but football is badly run, and football is exceptionally badly run in this country. From top to bottom, it is mismanaged completely. I'll finish on this point. Football has got a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Certain members of the upper class, the sporting establishment, yes, some sporting establishment figures do have that godlike complex, but football players, I think football in general is a sport in crisis. I think if you're inspired to play a sport because of the team you support or a player has inspired you, that's different. But it's the way that football players act. It's a bad role model for kids. If you notice, if you're watching, cricket's gone in a bad direction because I think the day-night test match is the way forward, but the ICC and the people running the game are too conservative. It's an old boys club. Then for some reason they have an allergy or a phobia of reform and adopting things that are good for the game. And we shall see what the next 5-10 years holds for cricket. They've been saying Test cricket's been dying for 20 years though, since they brought in one-day cricket. It hasn't. It's actually, I think, improved the quality of Test cricket, but it's just an excuse to get headlines for the sport in the wrong way. But the people in charge of the sport are the ones killing it, not the game itself. The people in charge of cricket are the ones killing it, not the game itself. Same with football. Football, you notice when there's a decision the referee gives in rugby or ice hockey. Ice hockey, occasionally the players lose their crap a little bit. But in football, they all crowd around the ref and they're all swearing at him and they're all effing and blinding. They're all being disrespectful. Whereas in rugby, they go, yes, sir, no, sir, sorry, sir, what was the penalty for, sir? And they don't tend to lose their marbles so much. They're more respectful. And football is a really, really yobbish sport right now. And no one has respect for the officials. The school I went to, I played more rugby and cricket than football. I was lucky that I got to play rugby and cricket more, and we spent equal time on all sports. Yeah, and I think we've discussed this. Football players throw themselves like they've been shot. If I was actually to get a gun, I think they would. If I was actually to get a BB gun out, I think they would piss themselves. They're overpaid. They're overdramatic. They're prima donnas. They're embarrassing. It's embarrassing watching them play sometimes when they act. You watch the World Cup this summer and you count in a match how many players dive and you keep a tally chart. And when you work out, okay, in this match 5 of them died, in this match all of them died, it gets depressing. And it's to the point now where I've really given up with football. It's sad. So I will watch the World Cup. I'll probably go, that match is fixed. That match is fixed. Those are racist chants coming from the Russian fans, etc., etc. And then I'll basically rip into the World Cup on my YouTube channel, and I see what you guys make of it. But look, I'm going to leave that there. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching this little short little live stream. Nothing special tonight. You had to add 2 questions right at the end. Do you think young cricketers don't get paid much? Their wages are not much better than what I was on working in a factory, which was not great money. A pro British ice hockey player, no, they don't either. They get paid a little bit more than your average worker. But yeah, no, both young pro cricket players and young pro hockey players don't get paid enough, and that's unacceptable because their careers are so short. So what they're going to do when they retire, they've got nothing to fall back on. But that is anyway. Good night, everybody. I know it's a shorter live stream tonight, but